A little bit of the bubbly.
So I've been here 8.5. My son, I told you when I first got here, I keep looking each and every day further and further up that ladder, and things getting better and better. What an old nasty dog.
Welcome to the Mark Out Movies Podcast. Aaron Whitlow,
Brandon Spivey, and we are the Mark Out Movie Podcasters.
There we are. And we are going to be talking about Scream 3, but we did want to talk briefly about the Elimination Chamber that happened. Was it this past Sunday?
This past Saturday.
Saturday. I forget. Pay-per-views has moved to Saturdays now. It's just odd to me. Growing up where it is on Sundays, it's just a strange feeling. But I can understand why, because it conflicts with other stuff that happens. But yeah, the Brandon said, so I told Brandon, I said, I really enjoyed something like that with Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns, and he was like, "No, that's storytelling."
You said it was fun.
It was
fun. That is masterful storytelling at its best, and it was. They didn't book it right, and he's lost momentum. So, which is what I kind of figured would happen. They're going to put him and Owens up against the Usos for WrestleMania, and it's not the ceiling for him, but they made it the ceiling for him.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that they backed themselves in the corner because they had such a great storyline with Sami Zayn and his treatment with him trying to get in good with the bloodline,
Mm-hmm.
and then to turn around and get in good with the bloodline, but then at the cost of like destroying his best friend and destroying that relationship, and finally decide, no, I'm not going to do that, and standing up to a bully, and they back themselves in the corner because now at the same time they have this Cody Rhodes thing happening, and it just, I feel like they shot themselves in the foot. I think that it would have been great. I think it'd been great if it's the best story of Sami Zayn defeats Roman Reigns. I think.
I'm going to make a prediction. I think Cody's going to get booed. If not at WrestleMania, shortly after. His story it's a nice story, but it's not as interesting as Sami Zayn's. So
Who else has a title other than Roman?
Nobody.
Roman is the guy.
He's the guy. He's the only guy.
That's the only thing about combining the titles, man, is you just make it that. And, like I think Cody could have had a better storyline with someone else maybe. That will give it a little bit more oomph.
Some people are saying he doesn't deserve it. And yes and no. What he's done outside WWE coming back, he does deserve this spot. But storyline-wise, he's just beat Seth Rollins, and he came back after an injury, won the Royal Rumble. So I understand storyline-wise, he doesn't deserve it over Sammy. But he does deserve the moment. Come on. I mean, he's went through a lot. He's transformed himself into the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. So I hope he wins, but still, Sammy, I feel, had a better story around WrestleMania season. So
I agree. And maybe I don't know. I don't know how you can really land the Sami Zayn storyline to make it where you can still feel a push, unless Roman wins against you know, uh,
Cody.
Cody, and then like Sammy defeats Roman maybe later. I don't know, but WrestleMania would have been a great moment for that. But
Yeah.
it's just, but anyway, that's the main thing that I gathered from the Elimination Chamber. The matches, the best match was the one with uh, the dude from Profits. Is that what they call it? Party something? I don't know. I don't know these kids, but but that one I
That chamber.
enjoyed. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. The one he dates Bianca, right? Belair.
I have no idea about their personal lives, but I think one of them do. I'm not like I really don't know about
But
that.
I really enjoyed that one though. I thought that was a really good one. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean I enjoyed all the matches. But I thought that Elimination Chamber match was the best. I thought they all told a pretty good story. The one that kind of backfired is to me was Brock and Lashley. Just the story. It's the rubber match, and you end up in a DQ because I'm assuming Brock didn't want to put him over, but you don't know. I mean, it was Triple H's call, I hear. So it just for a rubber match, you don't end on a DQ, and
yeah,
it looks like it's gonna be Brock versus Omos. If I'm pronouncing his name right, the big giant guy
big.
that's with MVP. Um, that's just a disaster.
Yeah,
It's just gonna be a disaster.
unless they push Uno, whatever his name is. I don't know the guy. But I did want to mention with that one elimination chamber match. I was thoroughly impressed with Austin Theory, and I think he has such talent. Also, Johnny Gargano, uh, Johnny
Johnny
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah, I really love him, man. I thought he was very entertaining as well. So, yeah, I mean, I like to see the new blood that's out there, man. It's just not really watching it weekly, and when I come to watch the pay per view, I'm like, I kind of come in lost, but but I do enjoy seeing some of these talent. I don't know what they're doing with Bray Wyatt. I think that they're not doing. They're trying to make him the next Phenom, I think, but it's hard. It's a hard sell.
You
It's a hard.
know, I watched it with Dawson. He actually watched every match but the Brock Lesnar match. And he kept calling the next phenom, as you say, Damian Priest. He says he's got that look. I was like, good eye, Dawson. He does have the look, and he's very talented in the ring. And if they went that way, I could see it working over Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, well, I think about Damian Priest. For one, I think he's the embodiment of. I think he's the embodiment of Razor Ramon. He has that swagger of Razor.
Yeah.
But he also, but he has athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
He's very agile. But so I really enjoy Damian Priest as well. I think all in all, it wasn't a bad pay per view. Shut that door. But yeah. But anyway. But yeah. Any other things you have for Elimination Chamber?
No, I mean, I'm glad Asuka won, but there's nothing really to talk about there. I mean,
All right. Yeah, there's nothing really. All right, so let's go ahead and get into, as you said, I'm as ready as I'm ever going to be for Scream 3. Came out in 2000. It is the third. It was supposed to be the last of the Scream films. It was the trilogy. It was the third film, which at one point in my life I thought that it was the weakest of the three. I think I might have grown a little bit more on it than I was on it. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah.
I don't, because I feel it's still the weakest. I mean, I like it. I like it, but I feel it's still the weakest entry in the franchise. But
once again, we have
I was just gonna say I like it less and less every time I watch it, though. So
You like it less and less?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's doing the opposite for you. So it stars again David Arquette returning, Nev Campbell, Courtney Cox, Arquette at this point, Lee Schreiber. So let's talk about Lee Schreiber, Cotton Weary.
Still hurts.
R.I.P. Cotton Weary, man. But they needed a death that was that's gonna gain the audience attention, and it's the way to go.
Kill Gale. Okay, please.
But they killed Cotton Weary, which he was a fan favorite, and I still like Cotton Weary, and that's the death that's very impactful for me. But they also introduced this dumbest element, and I absolutely hate this element. And I noticed by watching the TV show as well, they do this too. As far as I think, I don't know. Don't spoil the show for me, Brandon. But the voice modulator, the thing that can copy perfectly other people's voices, I think it's the dumbest thing. I think it's the dumbest thing.
Well, I mean, they had to try something new. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and they poke fun at that in the fifth Scream film. Actually, Scream with a flamethrower, and he's like a robot.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can understand having to try something new, but I hated the voice thing. I just thought it was just the dumbest thing, and the way that it's able to copy and mimic, even when you're not talking to him on the phone, when they're screaming, like Cotton Weary, like with that scene with Cotton Weary, it just got on my nerves. But yeah, it's just, you like it or what?
I mean, it didn't bother me. I was kind of curious how he got Cotton's voice, but then he's part of the movie, so he's part of the new Stab movie. So I feel this one, though, you should have been able to tell who the killer was right off the bat. Like, it was going to be Roman. Everything. I could tell. Yeah, there was no shock value here. It was Roman from the get-go. I was just going to say, I thought Lance Hendrickson's character could have possibly played a role too. They basically did nothing with him, which is sad because he's an icon and a legend in the business. But maybe he was there to throw you off.
The one lady that played was supposed to play Sydney in the Stab film.
Yeah.
Angelina, in the original screenplay, or one of the screenplays, she was going to be a killer with Cotton Weary.
With Cotton?
Yeah.
They should have went that way with Cotton.
And then that's why her character was kind of left to the side, pretty much,
Yeah.
But she was going to be exposed to being like actually somebody that was like a classmate of Sydney, and was mad that Sydney become famous for the whole stabs, for this stuff, and she wants the fame, and so she hooked up with Cotton, and that's how that happened. Recruited her.
So the plot of part 4.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's recycled. Everything's recycled, man. Like they literally say, "Well, we're gonna use it here. We're gonna use it here. We're gonna use it here." It's like Don Mancini with Child's Play stuff. He doesn't throw anything away. He just uses it. He repurposes it.
Oh, he should throw a lot away.
But yeah, I thought that was interesting. But with the Kincaid, I thought. They trying to make it look like he was the killer. And there's one scene that was really very telling, is when because the killer never has Sydney's phone until after Dewey lets Kincaid use his phone, and then that's immediately when the killer calls Sydney from the home line, not the office line. So this is her actual phone number that he's calling. And the only way to get that is from Dewey, because he's the only one that has it, other than maybe Sydney's father. But yeah, I think that was just it is a loose end, man. I don't know how he got the number. How was Roman able to get that number?
I mean, Dewey was on the set, so I'm assuming when he was not looking, Roman grabbed the phone. I don't. It's a plot hole, but I don't know. I just assume he somehow got the phone when Dewey put it down or something. Which I guess Dewey probably felt safe there. He didn't probably think someone would go through his stuff or anything. I mean, he was like, what was he? I forget what he called himself.
He was the, I don't know,
advisor.
Yeah, he's the advisor. But I did like, speaking of the advisor and / security, you had Patrick Warburton in this, aka the Tick, and I love that guy, by the way. He's like, he says, listen here, dude, Rock. I'm the one that has, I've protected blah, 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 blah. Why don't you just take orders from me, buddy? Why don't you follow my lead, essentially.
Yeah.
But I love him, man. And also the introduction that I like, and it's funny because you hate Gale, and now me doing this with you, I'm starting to hate Gale too, Brandon. I'm gonna tell you that. He's rubbing off on me. But Parker Posey, I absolutely love Parker Posey in this, and I wanted more Parker than I wanted Gale.
She played a good Gale. I mean, she played Gale better than Gale.
One of my favorite lines is you were what did she say? You were lying about the and whatever she said, like when she was talking to Lance Henderson.
Yeah.
That was so funny, man. I'm trying to see if I can find that quote. But like the other line in this movie that I absolutely loved was when Roman was like, "Would you have shut this down?" He's like, he was in a movie. He was in a movie called Stabs. He was stabbed. I love that line.
I love that cop. It's like everything's like a joke to him, but he doesn't. His delivery is like serious.
It's very dry delivery.
Yeah.
You know who I thought was going to be in this movie? You mentioned you would love to have a Dawson's Creek type of scene. By the way, I found this out in looking at something. I was looking at the kill count, so I credit Dead Meat. I found out that the same location for Lance Henderson's house in this movie is the same location that was used for Halloween H2O. Is the school.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it's the exact same location. But yeah, man. I was hoping for. I think that they should have went with their original idea with having it be Stu Macher. And I think that would have made more sense because they was gonna kind of pretty much coach high school kids into being killers and going after this and recreate Scream.
Yeah.
With the original people, which kind of what we got him for.
Yeah, without Stu. Without Stu. But I mean, I would have preferred a Stu reprising, Matthew Lillard reprising the Stu character. If it's even been considered, that is something the fans want. I would love that personally. It's just the whole Roman thing. It's I don't want to say it's dumb, but it didn't feel like Scream. It went against everything Scream was for, and like mommy problems. I mean, I get it with Billy. He had mommy issues, daddy issues. He had all kinds of issues, but it's just I don't know. I didn't like it.
There were some people in here that was pretty terrible. Like you knew that the moment that what's her name? She's really big at the time. What's her name? She's Jenny McCarthy. The moment that she said, "Well, I die," and I'm only in 2 scenes, and then I die, and this is literally the second scene that she's in. So, like, you knew she was gonna die. It's like, it's just like Roman being the killer. I always thought that was pretty weak. Out of all the Ghostface, I will say that he's the weakest of the Ghostface.
He is.
Literally, like we went from, in my opinion, the best Ghostface being Stu and Billy to a pretty good Ghostface being Mrs. Loomis and Mickey. I think Mickey's still a pretty good Ghostface. Very convincing. To Roman, it makes 0 sense. Like in the whole saying that, well, he was there from the beginning. That's why they pretty much, I don't think they really discussed him ever again in any of the other 6 movies, right?
No, but they bring him back on for Scream 5 when he was on Dawson's Creek. You see him on screen for the Halloween episode they did on that show. So we do get a Dawson's Creek in a Scream movie. So, but I honestly, after thinking about it, I feel that the reason they didn't go with Dawson's Creek theme for this movie, since it was in Hollywood, is probably because Josh Jackson was in Scream 2 as a different character. So,
and then also Kevin Williamson at the time that he was. So they had to do some rewriting. He didn't. I don't think he wrote for this one because he was busy.
Yeah, he gave him an outline.
Yeah, he was busy with Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I think that was his.
And I think he started Vampire Diaries in 2000. I'm not sure.
He also still had Dawson. He also he did some rewrites or something on. Didn't he have something to do with the faculty, or is that not him?
No, I don't think that's him.
But it's essentially Kevin Williamson was super busy.
Yeah.
He was super busy, in which serves him right, man. The guy keeps putting out great television, great stuff. Like
he did follow.
That's what. That's what I just seen that, and I was like, of course he did, which was a great show. Like if those that are listening to this or watching this, you never seen The Following, I suggest you watch The Following. Now it doesn't end great, but I'm not gonna spoil it. But I just think that for what it's worth, it's a really interesting show.
Yeah.
Did you watch The Following?
Oh, I watched it. All right. I love that show, and I was very disappointed when it got canceled.
But I'm trying to see what he was doing at the time. I know Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I think it's his directorial debut. But I can't find it. But yeah, he let's see, directing. Yeah, Teaching Mrs. Tingle came out in '99. So, but he was like, it came out in '99, but he just finished doing that, writing.
So he was probably shooting Mrs. Tingle when they were shooting Scream 3.
Yeah. And yeah, that's probably what happened. But it just came out before. Because Scream 3 was shot in '99 as well. But it got pushed back because of Columbine. Because the plot was initially, like I said, Stu Macher coercing teenagers, high schoolers, to start doing being Ghostface, and so they didn't want to set up that type of idea that movies influence murders in school, which I can understand that.
Yeah.
Um, but this is like, remember back in '99 how shocking
Hmm.
Columbine was,
Yeah, it
whereas
was.
now we're kind of hate to say that we're desensitized to school shootings in the sense of they happen so frequently, which is a sad
Well,
thing to say.
you know what that did though? That inspired people to do
Mhm.
more. Like I remember, I think I was at Olmsted, still at Olmsted then, and this guy's little brother said he was inspired to bring a gun to school and kill people. He never did, but he was inspired by what happened there, and it's sad,
Yeah.
but it influences people.
Yeah. Hey, I was right, by the way. Kevin Williamson was wrote the screenplay to the faculty.
Oh, did he? I mean, I didn't think he did. I wasn't aware of that, but
But it
it
makes sense too.
it
When you
feels
think about
like
it,
his work.
yeah, he is such a brilliant writer, and I'll give him credit, man. Too bad, like I didn't really care for teaching Mr. Tingle. I know where he's going with it. I just didn't think it's touching the landing. But writing and producing, I think he's excellent.
Yeah,
Uh,
I 100% agree.
but yeah, so we have. You mentioned this last night you messaged me that how that this movie. How did the Weinstein Weinstein? How did this get a pass?
I have no idea. I have no idea. I honestly believe this that Wes Craven was taking a shot at Harvey Weinstein all through this movie, like and exposing him and letting people know without saying who it is. Now everything that's come to pass is like, oh yeah, he was kind of letting people know back then, 23 years ago. I have no
Yeah,
idea how they let this get greenlit. You
yeah.
know,
I think that I don't know. Maybe Weinstein felt like he was untouchable, but yeah, I believe honestly, I do believe that that was uh I think it was Wes Craven like sticking it to him. You
yeah,
know, which God bless Wes for that. But yeah, um, but yeah, man, this I can't believe this passed. But it's such a it's this movie is it's a hard one to watch because of all that. Um, essentially Maureen Prescott went to Hollywood to become an actress, like many actresses do, and got caught up in the casting couch, got caught up in that type of atmosphere, and it had long time trauma to Maureen, where she was a she was very promiscuous, outside of her marriage, which ultimately led to her death. Um, hate that Roman has something to do with it now, but you know, it made
yeah,
more sense with just Billy Loomis and Stu saying, "Oh, we're gonna get her. She is the reason for this." And then the motivation behind Mrs. Loomis makes sense too. Oh, uh, because you killed my son.
yeah,
I want you dead. I understand her motivation. It makes sense. It makes sense. Now Mickey, yes, he just wanted to be famous. I can understand his motivation as well, because he's just insane, and that's what he thought. But Roman, I
well,
hate that.
what I will say about all of them,
Mhm.
there's at least one killer where it's really personal. At least one with all of
That's
them.
not you get Mrs. Loomis.
Yeah, that was personal because Billy. Roman's personal because of Maureen. It's not so much. I guess he just wanted to kill Sydney too. I. It's hard to really. I don't know. Figure his brain out.
Mhm.
Why'd he wait so long? After Billy and Sue tried, why'd he wait so long? But yeah, I think it's all been personal, at least with one killer.
Yeah, yeah. I think that I think that also Roger Corman pops up as a studio exec. Who Roger Corman is known for movies that scantily clad women, those B horror movies, like kind of like the movies that they said that Lance Henderson's character made.
Yeah.
Um, Speaking of cameos, I know you hated it. Jay and Silent Bob.
I didn't hate it. It felt random. I mean, I
Yeah.
enjoyed seeing them, but it felt so out of place in a Scream movie.
And then Kevin Smith returned the favor a year later, I think, with Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back, and he cast Wes Craven uh, in that movie as with a cameo in the Jay and Silent Bob movie. Uh, I was thinking maybe they filmed at the same time, but it is very random. It's a random cameo. Now the best cameo, I love Carrie Fisher not being Carrie Fisher. I thought that was great. She sister said that Carrie Fisher slept with George Lucas to get the part as Princess Leia.
What if that was true?
It could be, it could be
You
very
never
bad.
know. I mean, you never know. Don't make that a short. Don't make that a short.
Oh,
What if it was true?
it might be. Yeah, I gotta remember.
It was during that time. I mean, they said the 70s, right?
It's a hell of a time, man. Princess Leia.
I mean,
George-
honestly, if it's true, it wouldn't shock me.
Mhm.
I mean, as Lance Hendrickson said in the movie, Hollywood isn't for the innocent. That's true. It's not.
It's true. But yeah, man. I thought that was a good little cameo. With Carrie Fisher. And also Rena Reynolds I didn't realize this. She's named after Carrie Fisher's mother. Whatever her name is, Debbie Reynolds. Yeah, she's named after her. Oh man, this movie. Yeah. Now the sequence that scared me is the sequence with the ghost Marine Prescott. I will say that the stuff with the ghost mom, freaked me out. Like the scene where she's like walking, like and Sydney looks up and she's at the window. Every time, like I remember watching it and just being freaked out. And
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That whole sequence reminded me of a Dawson's Creek episode because Kevin Williamson did the exact same thing with Dawson on a movie set.
Really?
Yeah, same exact storyline right there. So I kept watching it. It's like it just thinking about Dawson and his ghost on this movie set that happened to be not real, but it just made me laugh at the whole scene. If I hadn't seen Dawson's Creek, I'd probably have your reaction. But since I had seen it and they kind of made fun of it, that she supposedly died on this movie set and she's now a ghost. She haunts the sets. It is similar that she's haunting Sydney's life.
What even is happening in Dawson's Creek? Are they actors? I thought they were high schoolers. What even is the show?
They are high schoolers, but they eventually graduate. Dawson goes out to film school, gets hired as a DP, I think, on some horror film.
Are you got to spoil Dawson's Creek for me?
No, you asked. I'm just telling you.
Okay, just wondering. Yeah, I will eventually watch Dawson's Creek. I'm gonna bite the bullet and do it. Maybe the same time you watch Star Trek.
You don't like Star Trek. I love Dawson's Creek, okay?
That's funny. The Trekkie's gonna get mad. I do like Star Trek. This Next Generation has been hard to get through. That's all I'll say. But anyway, yeah, man, I think that I was gonna bring up somebody. The the set, the scene where Sydney goes into like on the set, and they recreated her house and then Stu's house. Um, I thought, man, they did a really good job paying attention to details. I thought it was really, really well. Like I was just looking at it, I was like, man, yeah, I didn't notice that the refrigerator door was open in the garage, and the bridge was broken where the fight was.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wow, man, I thought that was really good. But yeah, I thought that was cool. Its movie has cool stuff, but it is the weakest out of the film. Um,
Yeah, it's
I don't
got
know.
the weakest. I feel it's got the weakest characters in a Scream film. It's got the weakest kills.
You're
I don't
not
know.
really invested in any of them, really, other than Parker Posey
Yeah,
uh, and Dewey, and then maybe Nev or Sydney. But I wasn't really invested in the guy that got burnt up in the fire. I wasn't, especially wasn't invested in Roman, um, and definitely wasn't invested in Dion Richmond, who played Tyson Fox. He was supposed to be
yeah,
the Randy character. Now his death, he should have ran faster, brother. Man, he should have ran faster, bro. Uh, don't be on carpet, bro. A rug where they could pull it. He, the pratfall, and then like you get thrown.
he
Maybe
had
the
a
brothers survived. I doubt it though.
he had a better death than Hatchet. He got his arms ripped off.
He wasn't Hatchet. I
Yeah, he
forgot he was in
was.
Hatchet. Oh man,
He's also in Not Another Teen Movie.
he
That's all
wasn't.
I. That's all I know. But he did 3 memorable films, I guess you could say,
He
for me.
he. So just so you know, he was in the Cosby Show as Kenny, aka as Bud, Rudy's best friend when he was a little kid. Uh, so he got to start on the Cosby Show.
I think I
Uh,
remember.
so I always associate him with as Bud. Uh, but yeah, his filmography is limited, my man. Oh, he's still working. Cloudy with the Chance of Christmas. What in the world? Uh, the show called Arrest. What Matt? Like he's in Psych. That's something, buddy. Um, Legend of Awesome Maximus. Okay, so that's where you going with it. He was in like those dumb rip-off movies, like Not Another Teen Movie, which wasn't bad. I like that. But he's in a lot of those type of stuff. He was in
Yeah.
National Lampoon's Van Wilder,
The first one,
the first one.
don't
I
remember.
don't
But
don't remember him at all. Uh, but yeah, okay. Anyway, I wonder where he's working at these days. I wonder if he's customer service somewhere. Hopefully, he's clearly still got jobs, right? But we can go ahead and ready to go ahead and shoot the dog. I guess.
well, before we do that, I will ask you
Randy,
what now?
what about Randy coming back?
Oh no. I mean, did you want to speak on that?
I thought it was a cool way of bringing him back because a lot of fans hated that they killed him. I hated that they killed him.
Yeah.
But that's a cool way of bringing him back.
You
And
want to know
just,
something? The
what?
first time I watched Scream 3 and they showed him, I immediately thought he's gonna be the killer at the end.
Really?
Like he was in on it in Scream 2. He was just. It would have been better. It would have been better if he would have been. But yeah, yeah, I thought it was cool too. Made me miss him, because
Yeah.
it's not been the same since him. It's really not going to be the same without Dewey. But
I really want. But what were you going to say?
I was just going to ask you. Very end of the movie, Dewey proposes to Gail Weathers.
Yeah.
What is your thoughts on Dewey's love, I guess, for the meanest woman in the Scream franchise? I just don't get it.
I don't know. What's more pressing is the fact that they always end up together at the end of the movie, but they always end up apart between the movies.
Yeah.
Now they're apart forever because Dewey's dead.
Thanks for the stab.
But oh man, I hate that. But yeah, maybe hopefully now that Dewey's dead, they go ahead and kill Gale.
I hope so.
You're gonna cheer. You're gonna mark out.
I will. If she bites it, I'm cheering. I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm cheering. I've been praying for that woman to die since Scream.
Oh my
Gosh. I hate Gale Weathers. I hate her with a passion. They killed the wrong one in Scream 5. They killed the wrong one. I was actually hoping she was going to die in Scream 4. Like, at the, what was it?
The hospital scene.
No. Scream 4.
In the barn.
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah. I was hoping. I was like, oh, please. Unfortunately, she's got star power.
No, I'd rather have David.
Yeah, I mean, she doesn't have it anymore, but I think still at that point, she still had something.
Also, David Arquette is the one that convinced her to cut her bangs that way in this movie because he was like, hey, you look like Betty Page. And she does not. She did not look like Betty Page.
I love you, David Arquette. You're awesome.
The ultimate rib.
Yeah.
But all right, you ready to go ahead and get some marks for this film?
Yeah.
Oh, by the end, we find out that of course Roman is the killer. It's him all along from the very beginning. Dewey shoots him in the head. Sidney holds his hand, which is weird. You don't know this dude.
It's kind of like that Michael Laurie relationship.
Yeah, but they have a real relationship. Not Sidney and Roman. It's not the same thing. They're not built the same.
No.
I direct. Shut up, Roman.
Anyway. She does that with Stu. It's built the same.
Yeah. I agree with that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and give it 2.5 marks out of 5.
Wow.
I went lower because you pulled it lower for me just from talking to you, Brandon. I love you, but this is true. I was going to end on 3, but 2.5.
I think you should go back up to 3. Come on.
Nah, 2.5 fine.
Wow. By the way, people, Aaron likes this movie more than me. Yet, I'm going to give it a better score than him. I'm giving it a 3 out of 5 on the markout meter.
Oh, wow.
It is what it is. Hey, I did try to get him to push it up a little bit, but he said no.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Well, next week we will be watching Scream 4, which is came out how many years later?
A lot, like a decade later, I believe.
Yeah, Scream 4 came out in 2011.
Yeah,
so 11 years later, like dang near 10 years later, right? A little bit over 10. But yeah, and yeah, underperformed. But tomorrow we plan on watching Cocaine Bear. Maybe we'll give you a little out of the movie theater quick review. Maybe a short. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. But Brandon,
no cocaine will be involved, though. I promise you that.
No cocaine. Brandon, what do you want the people to do?
Oh man, not hurt. I tell you, my back's hurting. I would like for you to share, subscribe to our Markout Movie Podcast channel if you have not already, and hopefully you enjoyed our review of Scream 3.
Also, check us out on our social media as far as Instagram. I am Aaron Knows Movies. Brandon is film guy 85.
1985, I think, or maybe it's just 85. I'm not.
We don't work. So Brandon's on there too.
I'm on it.
Uh,
Yeah.
And then also check us out on the Markout Movie Facebook page and on our YouTube channel. Check out our shorts because I'm going to try to post a short. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It might be Carrie Fisher. It might be Brandon's hate.
Oh no. The hate for
hate
Gail is I think 2 thumbs up worthy. I don't want to get it out there that Carrie Fisher slept with George Lucas for a role in Star Wars. Come on.
It's out there, Brandon. But
she said it first. She said it first.
Now she did, so we never know. Oh, George's still around here, but he ain't talking. Yeah, but anyway.
But it is funny. She's never worked with him since the Star Wars trilogy.
There
He
you go.
he hasn't been part of the new one, so
There you go. There might be something to it. Look, George may be a Harvey Weinstein.
if he's one, then Spielberg's got to be one, and I can't believe that.
We can't do that to Spielberg. We can't. We don't believe it about Spielberg. But anyway, all right. Well, in the meantime and in between time, I'm Aaron Whitlow.
I'm Brandon, that guy, Spivey.
We thank you for marking out with us here on the Markout Movie Podcast. Thank you, and you have a great rest of your evening.